Okay, so this is a 28.1 inverse trigonometric relationships. And so in order to understand this, you have to remember SOHCAHTOA and then going backwards from there, basically. So if we know, and then, if we knew the cosine was 0.5, we basically can find the angle. So where SOHCAHTOA helped us find the sides, the inverse operations, which are literally different buttons on your calculator looking like this, tell us the degrees, the angles. So the inverse ones tell us angles, while the other ones tell us just the sides themselves. And I think this calculator, they're using GeoGebra. You can also use Desmos. That's what I prefer to use. And so I'm just going to do the lesson for the sake of time. So we want to find the measure of angle R. So looking at angle R, I can see that I'm given a hypotenuse, the hypotenuse, and I'm given the adjacent. So I know that I'm going to be using the cosine. So what I'm going to do is use my calculator. And in order to use the calculator, it looks like I'm going to need to set some things up. So I'm going to pause. Okay, so I can see that we have the hypotenuse and the adjacent, which means we're going to use the cosine. So we would know that the cosine of angle R is equal to 8/10. So to find the angle, I'm going to use that fact, but I'm going to use this thing here. And I need to refresh this. Okay, so we're going to use the inverse cosine. So again, I'm going to make sure my thing is in degrees. So functions inverse cosine. So it's the one right next to it. It's that cosine -1. So my adjacent side was 8. My hypotenuse was 10. And then we got 36.869. So that would be 36.87 if we're rounding out 2 decimal places. And we're not. We're rounding out 1 decimal place. So it's going to be 36.9. So 36.9. Okay. And then it would be degrees. So then this one, we are using this information to find the measure of angle A. So from A, I'm given the opposite and the hypotenuse. And so that means I'm going to use the sine. So I know that the sine of A would equal 13/15. So I need to find A. So I'm going to do the inverse sine of 13, the opposite, over the hypotenuse, and that's 15. So it'd be 60.1 if we're rounding out 1 decimal place. So it says it doesn't say what we're supposed to round to. So I'm just going to assume 1. So 60.1. Okay, what does it say I'm supposed to do on that one? Let me just check here. Because we needed to find A, so we did the inverse sine of 13/15, and we would get 60.1. So I know that that's correct. So then again, this goes back to the strong mind rounding and not accepting other answers that were rounded. That's frustrating. Again, I'll have to not count all of these things. So then we have the elevation, like angle of elevation versus angle of depression. So this is how I think of it. And like if I were to just be looking, right, I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, so if I were to be looking straight and I watched an elevator, because the angle of elevation, if I watched an elevator go up, it would be like this. So that means the angle from the horizontal going up is the angle of elevation. While similarly, we have the angle of depression. And so if I'm looking straight ahead and I get depressed and I look down, then that angle right there is the angle of depression. And I know depression is a real thing, but this is just how I remember those things. So angle of elevation, I'm watching an elevator, angle of depression goes down. And yep. Okay, so then we're going to do these things here. So Matt wants to measure the height of the tree. So they have this lovely picture here, and they have decimal approximations that go out quite a bit. I don't know why they have those, because you have a calculator and you'd have to use a calculator anyway. So I don't know why they do this. Okay, So let me go back to here. So we have the opposite. So we have that the adjacent side is 100 feet, and we are trying to find the height of the tree, which would be the opposite. So I'm going to use tangent. So let's see. So the tangent would be the tangent of 35 would equal the opposite side, which we don't know, over 100 feet. So I'm going to go back to my thing here. And I'm going to use a different color because I want to. So I would have that the tangent of 35 is equal to, let me double check that that was the angle, is equal to the opposite side, which we don't know, over 100 feet. And at the end of this, we're going to add that 5 onto there. So we're going to multiply both sides by 100. And I'm going to use normal calculator times by the tangent of 35. So right here, we're going to go to 100 times the tangent of 35 times by the tangent of 35 is 70. Oh, it got stuck. Well, I'm doing it here. 70.02 is what I got. And then we need to add on the 5. So it'd be 75.02 because it said 2 decimal places. So 75.02. While I'm here, I'm going to double check that they didn't round it any different way. So 7.00. Oh, just kidding. Yeah, this would be right because you could times that by 10 and you can see it'd be 70. Okay, good. So this is correct, even with the rounding errors. Okay, next one. I want to know, so we have 40 degrees right there. We have the angle depression is 40. Which if this is 25.17, then this over here is 25.17. And we are supposed to find the length of the rope. So that is the adjacent, and we have the opposite. So I'm going to get my little camera thing, my sharing my screen thing going again. So we would set up the sine because it's the tangent, the opposite. So we would have that the tangent of 40 is equal to the opposite, which is 25.17 divided by x, because we don't know that side. So here we go. We're going to go the tangent of 40 is equal to the opposite side, so 25.17 over the thing we don't know, over the adjacent. And so then to solve that, we were going to do the preloaded math, which says that we're going to just switch places with those. So switch places. So 25.17 divided by the tangent of 40. And they went out 3 decimal places, so most likely it's going to be the same. So we have in the calculator. Okay, so let me go back and show you what I put here. So 25.17 divided by the tangent of 40. So coming back into the calculator, 25.17 divided by the tangent of 40. And make sure it's in degrees. It is. So 29.996. Coming back in here, I can see that that would have to just be a whole number. So that would be 30. And then a tent is set up for an outdoor market. The tent is 9 feet tall. The rope, we have P. We want to find the rope, and I'm given the opposite. So I can see that what I'm going to have to do is the sine. So I would have that the sine of the angle, so sine of 55 is equal to the opposite, which is 9, over the adjacent, which we don't know, but they told us it was P. So I'm going to look at my picture here. So sine of 55 is equal to 9 over P. Preloaded math says that we change those. So the P is equal to 9 divided by the sine of 55. So coming to my calculator, 9 divided by the sine of 55. 9 divided by the sine of 55 is 10.98, and if I rounded that, it would have to be 11. So, or 10.98 or 11. Yep, 11, because 98 would go up to that, not 9. Very good. So that is 28.1. 28.2. Oh, that now it's just the unit exam. So very good. That was 28.2. All right. So that was lesson 28. Hopefully this helped. Sorry that it was so late in the game, but I was trying to give you guys time to do it on your own.